Guys, you are welcome to Nestele. Welcome to 2023. As it has become a tradition here, I usually do a chit chat and get ready with me while I discuss things about the last year and what we're going to do in the new year. It is so good to have you here if it's your first time. Hi, welcome. I am Nes. If this is not your first time, well, how was your Christmas? How's it going? And all that. Now, if you care about any of the makeup or the way any of the makeup looks, I will answer you in the comment section. If you see one that you think you like and you're interested, let me know in the comment section. I shall answer you. I got you. Okay, so let's start by talking about 2022, right? 2022 was an amazing year. So many new things happened to the channel itself, and then to me personally. It was 2022 was a wild year for me. It affected my ability to read, which I don't think has ever really happened before. But I mean, no complaints. I've learned a lot. I believe that a lot of things that I learned is going to make me a much better person. So please let me know what 2022 was like for you. One of my greatest reading achievement was my being able to finish the Bible in 1 year, and that is where this one comes in. The Bible in a year. This is it's a regular Bible, like, you know, right? It's the NIV. I'll do a close-up shot so you can see it well. But the way the contents are arranged is not arranged like the regular Bible that you know. It's arranged in every day of the year. So instead of seeing like you know, the normal Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus numbers, you see January the 1st, that's where Genesis is, January the 21st, just like that. I don't know, I liked it. And even though I didn't follow, like I didn't end it exactly on December the 30th, I ended it on January the 12th or so. I was so proud of myself because I've never been able to read the Bible in a year. Like, I have tried several times and it hasn't worked. So anyway, so my this thing, that to me, I consider that one of my greater achievements. My favorite books for 2020, one of my favorite books for 2022, for non-fiction, right, was a collection of essays of this our country. I think I read it in either, if I didn't read it in October, I read it in November. I think it was October I read it. Lord, when I found that book, I was so happy with myself. However, I listened to it on script. You get, it was the script version that I listened to. So because of that, it's not, I don't have the physical book to show you. But I did promise myself I was going to buy the book. But you see the thing, eh? When you finish listening to a book, if you don't have, like, let's say, workbook, like something that you really want to work on or something like that in the book, at least for me, we generally just don't want to get the book again. Like, I still want to get this book, but every time I take the money, go to Robin Heights to buy it, I'll find another book I like and I'll buy it. If it's not for me, I'll get one for my daughter. That just keeps happening to me. It's the funniest thing, it's the dandiest thing. So that's another interesting thing, Sha. So I loved Of This Our Country. It was a collection of essays by a lot of Nigerian authors, mostly in diaspora. You know, so they're talking about their experiences, what they loved, what they didn't love, you know, things that they found scary. You know, people were talking about things like NYSC, the funeral, Lagos. See, my mom that talked about Lagos. The way she talked about Lagos was so amazing. My favorite story, though, was by Chitchat. She talked about markets, you know, and she grew up in the eastern part of Nigeria. She grew up in Oka. I grew up in Enugu. And a lot of what she said just hit home for me. Like, I was like, oh my God, I've never heard anybody explain the market the way she did. And one of the things I found most amazing with her essay was how she just related the way the dynamics between the literate rich man and the illiterate rich man. Now, the illiterate rich man is usually the market boy, you know, the boy that did the whole system. There's a popular system here in Nigeria. If you don't know about it, please go read it up. It's amazing. Where a little boy or a young man goes to do work for someone he calls his master, and then when he's with his master, he stays with his master for a lot of years. Then the master decides to give him money and let him go. But basically, the master will pay for a new shop for him, and the boy can go and start his own business, and that's that. And everybody somehow keeps to their words with it, so it's not like there's no cheating, there's no, it ends up going well, for most people. So a good number of the big boys that in Nigeria that have like huge stores and all that, they'll tell you that they have their men, people that made them who they are, and the people that they've made who they are too. So she was able to explain that. I don't know, I liked it. It was just beautiful, Jerry. I don't know how else to explain it. But that was of This Our Country. That's my non-fiction. Then my fiction, my favorite fiction was Ogadimma. Now, just because I'm mentioning Ogadimma does not mean that I did not enjoy my own share of non-fiction in 2022, right? If you've been a subscriber in this channel for a while, you would know that I read my own share of fiction, whatever. Like my romance month is always late. Like if I could have a favorite month in 2022, it would be my romance month. That was the works of Amaka Azie. Like I don't understand why we are sleeping on that girl. I love her work. I love what she's doing. So anyway, Amaka Azie, in case you don't know of her or you've not watched the video, why haven't you watched the video? She writes romance novels about Nigeria, but it's like somehow in between the entire thing, right? She's talking about issues in Nigeria. So for me, it's like it's so relatable. Like we're talking about things like domestic abuse, child marriage, what are all those things? Child marriage, drug trafficking, all those type of things, fake drug rings, those kind of things in Nigeria. So it's like all of that is being discussed while we are reading the book. So it's like in between all that, all those beautiful feelings here and there are a few jarring realities that affect one or two of the characters in the book. Or I think one time you affected somebody outside. I think one about the house helps, the way the maltreatments of the helps, in Nigeria. So it was about that, and I don't know. The book is wonderful, honestly. The books are wonderful. So my favorite months in 2023 was my romance month, studying the books of Amaka Azie. They were nice. So back to my fictional book. My favorite fictional book was this person, Ogadimma. Oh boy, that book was mad. That book was mad. That story was crazy. I call it my favorite book because I don't think any book has ever made me feel the way I felt with that book. And I've read some very heart-wrenching stories. I've read Buried Beneath the Baobab Tree, not last year though, but like Buried Beneath the Baobab Tree, what's the other one? I Do Not Come to You by Chance. All those books that as in they jar you from nowhere when you read them. But I don't think any book jarred me as much as this. Maybe it's the first that I'm reading of that kind of book. And honestly, when I finished, I needed to take a break because on script, when I listened to it, they were trying to suggest other books that were similar. I was like, why would I want to put myself through this kind of suffering intentionally? Because like the book was good, but I felt like I was suffering while listening to the book. I felt like I was going through what Ogadimma was going through. And that girl went through a lot. And the beauty was that in the end, like it ended well. For me, it was a happily ever after because the girl went through a lot, Jerry. It was a happily ever after. But somewhere in my mind, I'm thinking to myself that, but this book, this girl's life is it's not going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. Anyhow, so that was that. That's that. Then I also liked what's the that book? Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. Now I feel like that book that book can easily get watered down because of the hype that is coming with. Does that make any sense? So it's like you start to feel like everybody just likes it because everybody claims they like it. That's what I think this book. That's what I think is happening with this book. It's the same as The Subtle Act of Not Giving a Fuck. That book, I feel like a lot of people just liked it because everybody was liking it, or because the topic was given like you either like me or you do, or you're a fool. Now Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad doesn't give that vibe, sha. But anyway, I'll give you a tip. If you go somewhere, right, and you want to come across as interesting, buy that book and hold it. I kid you not. When I was reading that book, I went to places that I've never been spoken to ever before in my life, and I was reading it like I wasn't trying to form. I was picking it up and I was reading it, and someone would just be like, what is what is the name of that book? Is it nice? I'm like, I realized it's the only time I've ever had a book in my hand and people that don't know me walking past will not say, waiting, so like, and a lot of guys are very on the defensive about the book. The book, anyway, for guys, there's any guy here, I mean, this book is not here, that book is not here to knock you down or anything like that. So just calm down, the book is fine. So yeah, that's about it. Then for business, my favorite business book was this one. Good to Great. See, I've read this guy's book, Built to Last, before. And it was good. But you see, this Good to Great, it is great. Do you understand? Built to Last was good. This one is great. This book is great, I kid you not. It's the best book when it comes to business. And trust me, I've read my own share of business books. If you want to study companies, see what they are doing, how come they are doing so well and all that, this book is what you want to know. And I remember something that has how do I put it, has played in my head for a while. Anytime I think of, businesses and all that, I think of what this guy said in this book, where he said that, okay, now what he did was that he explored, like, I think a total of 30 companies, shared them into two, and some were good companies, like companies that are doing well, though, they are not struggling. Half of it's good companies, the other half, great companies. The great companies are companies that are not in a hurry to jump on the tech train. I did not see that coming, and you're like that. The novelty of being the first at something when it comes to tech, for a lot of these great companies, for them it doesn't matter. They would rather wait for somebody else to try it, fail at it, then come and start trying it out. Do you understand? They will learn from your mistake when it comes to tech, or not with everything. They are not in a hurry to be the first. And the interesting thing, my man and I were talking recently, literally last night, I kid you not, and he was talking about what happened with Meta. In the news, the metaverse, that's that situation that has started, the metaverse had suddenly fired a whole bunch of people, and we're just wondering, like, what happened? How did so many people, like, this guy was on the verge, he was doing something, and I'm not saying that I don't think the metaverse is done for good, there's still a lot of potential and all, but I think that in the bid to be the first, he may have run in and gotten a lot of his hands burnt. Do you understand? In addition to the fact that a lot of people were really spooked out by the metaverse, there's nobody I know that felt, even those of us that I know that are in the metaverse, they are like, I don't know, I'm not sure, like, I'm not sure it's giving what I wanted to give, but they're like, maybe we just desist, just so that they can be the first at something. Now, the metaverse has not gone down. I don't think it's going down. I think it's going to do well, and it's going to continue going up. What I just think is that there's going to be a bit of a, well, I say fallback. There's going to be a bit of a lean back for a minute before it now starts and all that. So the concept that was introduced in this book about being the first when it comes to tech actually comes to play, because I feel like what happened there was that they were so in a hurry to be the first that they got their fingers burnt a lot. Now, who am I to talk? I don't have a big business or anything. I'm just sitting down here entertaining you guys with my ability to do makeup. Okay, so there's that. But I just remember thinking that this book was so enlightening, right? If you can get this book, if you can get the audio, if you listen to script. I found out Spotify recently, by the way. Okay, I found that Spotify actually has a lot of audiobooks. So if you can find Spotify, find script, find Audible, any of these places, find the one that has this book and then listen to it. Please, I apologize for the sound. So so Good to Great was one of my favorite books for businesses. Which other genre? Please remind me which other genre is there? Okay, so self-help. I found out last year that a lot of people don't like self-help. I don't know what people are doing, though. I don't know what self-help did to you people. I like self-help. Self-help has made me to understand myself and my life and what I'm doing myself, even till now. Let me see. There are two that come to mind. What a Time to Be Alone. I feel like if you follow me on TikTok, you would know by now that I really liked these two books. They were very, I don't know, they were just so eye-opening, right? And I think what I liked the most about them was how young the authors are. It's like, how are people this young, this knowledgeable about life, more knowledgeable than I am in my old age? That kind of feeling. You're like, how does person take know all this thing now? Like, you just got here yesterday, and I've been here for a while. How come I don't know this much? But the beauty of life is that as long as you're alive, you can still learn and you can still change. And God is not done. So that's it, though. That's that was that. I liked that. What a Time to Be Alone and I Wish I Knew This Earlier. Those two books really, and they were so similar in the way that they wrote. Even though one was written by an American Nigerian, the other one was written by a British Nigerian. They were both similar in the way that they were written, the way that they even introduced the book. I liked it. Another book that I really liked is How to Own the Room. That book, I'm doing the exercises that we're asked to do in the book, and I am telling you, this book is amazing. If you're someone that has struggled with speaking out and all that, that book, get that book. It's your good friend. I'm telling you, it's one of the best friends you can have right now. So 2023. What are we doing in 2023? Oh, one more genre, autobiography. I only read one autobiography this year, I think, and that was I'm Glad My Mom Died. When I tell you that book, don't worry, all these books I'm talking about, my videos of me talking about them, you will see them up somewhere, either here or here. You will see it somewhere where I talk about the book. You know, then you should, I feel like there are books worth reading, and whenever it is you read, you can come back and leave a comment on the video, or even before if you like the way the story goes in the video. So now, I'm glad my mom died was crazy. Anytime I'm telling someone that's the name of the book, they are horrified by what I'm saying, because my mom died when I was like 9 years old, so they think I'm actually telling them I'm glad my mom died. The girl that told the story is the story of this lady that acted. Her name is Janine. Is that her name? I forgot to know. McCurdy, right? She acted in iCarly and Sam and Cat. If you watched those shows, or you have kids that watched those shows when you were kids, in your house, you would know who I'm talking about. And it's that girl. She talks about like dealing with ugly eating disorders and OCD and the madness that was her life, because she was a child star. And if you understand anything about Hollywood and children, I don't know how some people still willingly carry their children and take them there to go and do work, because it's crazy. That life is mad. It's a very messy life, it's a very messy life. And then when the child now blows so early, it's mad. Anyway, so the girl just went through a lot. So the whole time when she was like being this big girl, as in this popular star everybody liked and all that, she was going through a lot, Her mom died when she was like, I think 24 or so, and she just suddenly realized that her life was a mess. She didn't know the whole time. She thought she was fine, nothing was wrong. I imagine I'm looking scary. Well, please just trust the process and follow me. Come along with me. So so that was the only autobiography I read. So I dare to say that might be my favorite for the year, because that's the only one I read. But it was a good one. I don't know if you understand. If it was bad, I would have said I read one and I didn't like it much. I'll just say I don't know any other one. Which other genre did I get into? So last year, from July, or was it from May or June, I just stopped reading, right? Is there a reason? Yes, there's a reason. Do I know the reason? I don't know. The thing was that I just know that I was feeling the way I felt, that I just didn't feel like reading again, and that kind of became my reality for that period of time, sadly. My goal in 2023 is to read 52 books. That's one book a week in 2023, and that's 4 books every month. Wait, what am I saying? 4 times 12 is what? 24. That's 24 books now. Why do we say there are 52 weeks in a year? Anyway, so 1 book for every week in 2023. That is where I am. So what that means is that right now I have 2 books I've already read, because we're in the second week of 2023 as of when this video is going on. So I wanted to talk a bit about goals, because goals is something I think a lot of us I don't know how to say I want to say it, but like it's something I think exhausts a lot of us. I've heard people say I don't do goals again, I beg. That is just, someone called me a setup for frustration. One person say setup for heartbreak. because you start to feel a certain way about yourself when you plan a goal over and over again, so several times, and somehow it never works. Oh, sorry about that. My light went off. I don't know what happened. The shower went off. Okay, so what was I saying again? Yes, I wanted to talk about goals. So goals are things that you write down. Okay, yeah. So I was saying that some people. Let me start from where I stopped. Some people actually say they don't do goals. Then I've actually heard people say that I've never done goals before. Like I've never actually sat down and written goals before, and all that. And some of these people, you see them struggle through life, pretty much wading through water, wading through against a water tide. Like water is going this way, and you're trying to wade that way. Like it's hard, But here's the thing about goals. Goals are very good for people that have concentration issues. Some of us in general have our life kind of planned out without knowing that it is, but it is. Like because of your job, you know that you have to be somewhere at a certain time and you go. Because of your life, if you're married, you have to be doing something at a certain time and you just do it. But the thing is that what goals do is that they make you to be absolutely sure of what your focus is at a certain time. Does that make sense? Okay, so you write goals down. Generally, we write our goals down. You decide that you want to do one of the most popular goals in the world, in this present modern world that we live in, has to do with weight. People say, oh, I want to eat less, I want to go on a diet, I want to work out, I want to walk out more, that's walk around more, I want to go to the gym. So it's like they said that the gym is always full in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the year. Then after like the 3rd week, it starts to dwindle, and then suddenly the serious people that were there the year before are the ones that will stay. Maybe out of the 300 people that re-registered thinking, okay, yeah, I'm going to work out, you might just find only 2 or 3 being consistent at the end of the year. The thing that the popular goals are weight related or body related. Do you understand? I'm going to eat better, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to start doing more smoothies, more cleanses, more juice, whatever. I'm going to start doing yoga, I'm going to start doing stretches, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of those things, you actually see them. And the thing is, most times we write a goal, we don't plan it out, What I found very interesting is that I can't talk with my mouth full, so you push, excuse me. What I find very interesting is that when we are making some goals, I already mentioned earlier that life has already taken you to one direction. If you're someone that works, this is who your life is. If you're someone that has children, this is who your life is. If you're married, this is how your life is. If you live with your parents, this is how your life is. If you're caring for somebody, this is how your life is. The thing is, you are not exactly told. You're not aware of this goal that you have and how it's going to affect your already ongoing life. That is where you make a plan. It's very uncomfortable at first when you have to now adjust your whole persona, your entire person. Do you understand? To be able to fit into one thing. Now, just because it's hard to do doesn't make it impossible though, right? So it's us just deciding that, this is very important to me. I've wanted to do it for the longest time and I'm going to do it now. And then pow, you do it. Hold on again. So, since we all know that we all struggle with goals at one point or another, reading goal is one I hear a lot of. A lot of people say, oh, I want my kids to read this much books. Another person say, oh, I want to be able to read this many books in a year. I'd like to read at least just 3 books. Some people say just 3 books. So when I was in secondary school, I used to read every term. I read like 10, and then I cannot just read 3. I don't have the time, You actually do have the time. It's just that you don't know how, you haven't quite figured out how to move this goal into your regular life. So it can feel daunting. And the worst thing about, I think, goals, what I think somebody told me specifically, 1 second. One thing is that they start to feel like failures when they don't carry out this goal. And I think that that's the most, I don't know how to put it, it's the most misunderstanding you can have with goals. Like, that's not the point of the goal. The goal is to help you point out something that you want to change, and then you change it. It could be your habit, it could just be this one-off thing that you just want to do, just for a period of time. But the beauty is that when you do achieve a goal, like when you collect a big goal, you want to make 100 million in 2023, you break it down, and it turns out that, okay, for you to make 100 million at the end of 2023, you have to be making, let's say, 20M a month. If you're able to make 20M 1 month, you're gingered, you're excited, you celebrate that. You don't wait until it makes that 100 and you start beating yourself up that you didn't get it or you got it. You get, for every time you break it down into tiny daily activities, every time you do it, you celebrate that you did it and you feel good. You're spurred on to do more. If there's a way I could explain this so you can understand it better, I would explain it well. But let me just use myself for example. My ability in 2019, I stopped taking milk, like milk, cereal. I love cereal. I love to drink curry. I love my curry inside milk. I've not taken curry with milk in such a long time, but I love it. I love cereal. I love cornflakes. I'm those kind of person. So like milk is so important to me. I'm a person that I like to taste milk. But one day I just decided I was going to stop. And the simple act of stopping milk has spurred my ability to do several other things. However, my wanting to stop milk may have not been possible if I hadn't already reached my goal of reading books. Do you understand? In that same 2019, I had said I was going to start reading more. I did not start reading more until, I think, September. But once I started, guys, it just went until today. Do you understand? This is we're entering 2023, and like 3 people recently told me that they cannot think of books and not think of me. Now, if you know my history, you know that me and book, we don't really get along. I'm almost done with the video. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. I am going to change now. Did I tell you where I was going to? I'm not going anywhere. I'm actually about to shoot more videos for the month. So for this month, I'm going to talk a lot more. We're going to be discussing a lot more about goals in addition to what we read and how we read it. Okay, here I am. Okay, so well, this is the finished look. You're going to see me in another video looking exactly like this right now. A few things here might change and all that, but I'm going to be looking like this in other videos. So let me do my final touch up before I go. So I just want to say I really appreciate you guys for working with me in this 2023. But I mean, like I've always said, and what I've always believed is that it's not possible for you to be exposed to books and to take in as much knowledge as we do, and your life will be the same. Something will change, something drastic will happen to you and happen for you. You know, even if it's not, I mean, it depends. You know, the sky is the limit. What can happen and what cannot happen, really, it's all up to you. So I cannot wait to ride along with you in this amazing 2023, and that we're going to go through a lot of soft and sweet journey this year, and it's just going to be so nice. I cannot wait to share with you. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Bye.